Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Young at Heart for the Irish and everybody else. Featuring nursery rhymes, stories, songs, poems, Mother Goose, Aesop's fables, Lewis Carroll, limericks, larks, epics, stories of the great operas, and such. To keep us all young at heart, Father James DiLuzio here, Chapter 34 of Le Avventure di Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, summarized by yours truly. You know we left off last time with an incomplete description of Chapter 33 because I was trying to be so succinct, my mind raced, and I erred. I told you an untruth. I did. Not intentionally. I wouldn't call it a lie. Anyway, I said that the circus master, Pinocchio had turned into a donkey and the circus master had him and he was training him and he had this great debut, but it was a flop because Pinocchio jumped as a donkey, jumped through a hoop and broke his leg. No good to the circus master. And I said the circus master threw him into the sea so I can end quickly. However, that's not true. That didn't happen. No, what happened was the circus master was disgusted and he sold donkey Pinocchio, to a tanner who was very interested in the donkey's hide. You know what tanners do, right? So it was that person who brought Pinocchio to the sea and puts stones and rocks on, ties them to his feet, the donkey's feet, and a noose around the donkey's neck with a long string of fishing pole string, and throws him into the sea in the Mediterranean, of course, and planning that the donkey would drown, and then he would bring it back up and then have a lot of donkey skin to make leather out of. But a very curious thing happened, to quote Lewis Carroll, curious and curiouser. Although I don't know if Lewis Carroll ever did comment on Pinocchio. But the phrase is Lewis Carroll, and that's the truth. Curious and curiouser. So what happens is this. While Donkey Pinocchio was down at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea, all these fish come and they're hungry and they start eating and nipping at the donkey, eating until there's nothing left but bones. But not bones. No, kind of miraculously, an intact wooden puppet named Pinocchio. So at some point, the tanner gets very impatient, pulls up the rope, and he doesn't find a donkey. He finds a talking wooden puppet named Pinocchio. And there's a couple pages of amazing, hilarious repartee. The dialogue goes back and forth. Pinocchio's filled with joy. The tanner is furious. His donkey is gone. What's he going to do with this talking puppet made of wood? Pinocchio once again, full contrition of all the terrible things he does and what a bad person he is. But he knows that must be that good fairy who loves him and keeps giving him one chance after another. He was convinced the blue fairy sent the fish to eat him up, to restore him back to the heart of his wooden hood. And the tanner's he's just disgusted. He's out 20 pennies. He paid for this donkey. Now what's he going to do? So he's going to grab Pinocchio and sell him for firewood. That's happened before, if you recall, long ago, with that puppet master. Was not going to sell him. He was going to use him for firewood. Well, again, sometimes history repeats itself, kind of, with a little nuance, new situation. So, my friends, Pinocchio will have none of that. Good for him. He jumps into the sea, and the tanner doesn't go jumping in following him, and he swims and he sees far off a little rock island on the sea, and standing on that rock is a goat, but not just any goat. The closer he gets, the more he sees that this goat is blue. Blue. Now, not dark, rich blue, not navy blue, but as if the goat were white and then just lightly tinted with blue. A beautiful blue, a sky blue, if you will, a heavenly blue. Indeed. So who, of course, might this be? You might ask yourself. Well, he swims, but just as he's swimming comes a giant shark. In fact, do you remember when those schoolboys were taunting Pinocchio that they wanted him to see the biggest giant shark ever in the world, and he went, and all the trouble that ensued? And the books and the poor little kid who they thought was dead. And well, you don't need reminding. It's all fresh in your memory, of course. Well, there actually is a giant shark over a mile long. And just as Pinocchio is about to reach the cliff and hail the blue goat, he's devoured by this giant, did I say giant? Huge shark. Now, in the mouth of the shark, I don't even think he gets to the belly because it's so huge. There's this tuna bemoaning and bewailing its plight, because at some point they'll be moving from the mouth to the stomach, and then the digestion was going to start not very appealing. And Pinocchio is trying to say, how can we get out? And they're trying to figure out this or that and that or this. Nothing seems to be working. And at the end of this conversation, another wonderful dialogue by Carlo Collodi, which again, you have to read the original to have full appreciation. Appreciazione, I think. They see a little light, dark, somewhere. Is it way at the back of the throat of the shark? Is it in the belly? Tiny, it almost looks like a little star, far away. And so Pinocchio goes, what could this be? I don't know, says the tuna, but it doesn't, I'm not going to go there. The idea is to get out, not in. But Pinocchio says, no, something tells me I must go and see. And so we leave him at the end of chapter 34, making his way through the mouth of this huge mile-long shark. So I don't know, you figure out the proportion yourself. Get out your tablets and do some math. And going to this place where there's this bright little light. And ponder this week what it might be. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a lot of fun recounting the story more accurately this time. You can see I took my time. It's 8:29, 8:30, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. God bless you all. See you next week. Good night.